I find it fascinating that Democrats used to be the party of unions. And what are we seeing in this election cycle? More and more unions coming out and endorsing Donald Trump. This is a huge indicator for a Trump landslide in this election. It's very cool. It's very exciting. And that's what we're talking about in today's video. This is Americana X Newswatch. I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the show. If you haven't before, you're just finding my show, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And share this out to your friends so we can continue to grow this conservative network to promote a greater America. So today I'm going to make two videos. They're both on the same basic subject, which is indicators or reasons for why Trump is on a track to win big in this 2020 election. And today, this first video, we are talking about how unions more and more are coming out in endorsement for Donald Trump's candidacy for the presidency or to be reelected. And why do I see this as a big indicator for a Trump win? Well, I think this comes down to what got him elected in 2016 election cycle. It's something that we've seen not only in America but around the world, this concept of nationalism versus globalism, okay? But before I get into that, I'm just going to show you a quick photo of what got me thinking about this in the last couple of days. Donald Trump held a presser when he was in Nevada. It was with unions and worker associations there. And this is a picture from that group. They all came out and spoke, and a lot of it had to do with Donald Trump and his administration's COVID response and how that benefited Nevada small businesses, but his administration and its support for small business in general. Okay, so who was it that was here at this presser? Nevada Trucking Association was present there, the Retail Association of Nevada, Associated Builders and Contractors of Nevada, and Startup Nevada. That's a lot of groups, a lot of worker groups, small businesses. Truckers, a lot of truckers are individual businesses, They're set up to be a small sole proprietorship, LLC, and they are their own business. At any rate, getting to this concept of seeing it through the lens of nationalism versus globalism. The reason why I believe we're seeing a lot of our unions in America beginning to align more with Donald Trump and the Republican approach to problem solving on a political level is because it is getting at the heart of what a small business owner needs, the support they actually need. We look at unions. So there's worker associations, there's unions. And for unions, for them, they want their jobs to be protected. They want their contribution to be valued here in America. And what is it that Donald Trump ran on in 2015? It was all these things. National sovereignty, bringing jobs back to America, limiting trade or putting tariffs on trade to make it difficult for importers to take advantage in trade deals with America. It's the big reason why Trump is getting more endorsements now from unions and worker associations. By Trump prioritizing sovereignty in 2015 when he came down the escalator and he gave his pitch, from there, it was almost as though it was a domino effect. He was saying, we're going to focus in on America. We're going to put American workers first, American business first. We're going to support our country again. We're going to stop apologizing for being a great nation. We're going to start making it more difficult for other countries to take advantage of us. We're going to stop exporting our jobs over around the world. This is very appealing to unions and to worker associations. He was right when he recognized that national sovereignty and international trade war were big, huge issues to tackle in this era. Almost none of the other candidates saw it. Even Republican candidates that he was running against in the primaries, they did not see what Trump saw. He saw it, he articulated it, and he's now spent his first term really fighting on the front lines, really doing something about it. In reaction to Trump, what is it that we've seen the left do in the last 4 years? They've continued to lurch further and further left. It's like they're doubling down on positions that aren't working for the general American people. They continue to invest in what we'd say is like mountain out of a molehill issues, like making a really big deal out of some minute, minuscule problem and then pretending like it's everything and it's this huge deal that we all need to panic about. They are completely missing the forest for the tree. In fact, I would say the Liberal Party has become the forest for the tree party. America, with a bunch of crazy liberals shutting down American cities now to try to sell their narrative that America is in a lot of trouble. So that's what it's really come down to. It's sort of devolved from them trying to sell their positions 4 years ago when they were failing to push identity politics. You know, we got to have the first woman president. And that was really their only selling point. That whole do we remember even what Hillary Clinton stood for in 2016? I barely remember what issue she was running on. It was such an overshadowing idea that we need to have a woman president. Why? Why do we need to have a woman president? Give me the issues that she stands for. That makes me want to vote for her. Otherwise, it's just another empty-suited politician, you know, making agreements with lobbyists. And I think that's really another big component to this. The evidence we are seeing leading up to this election, to me, is clearly indicating that Trump is on the right side of real issues that Americans actually care about. And this is why we're seeing unions and worker associations across the country, other than maybe the teachers union, coming out in support of Donald Trump. You know, it used to be that the unions were known for aligning with the Democrat Party. And how did that come about? What was going on there? The long and short of it was the Democrat Party, because of its sort of its history of having a focus on social issues, made its stance on, well, we're going to be the politicians that are fighting for the unions. What we'll do is we'll work with the lobbyists and the PACs and we'll receive money from them. That way we'll earn or we'll garner favor with the unions, receive money from them, they'll vote for us, and then we will go talk about union issues and vote for union causes the way that unions want us to vote. Well, that was basically the whole interaction for several generations. Basically, it was different levels of corrupt liberal politicians accepting money from unions through lobbyists, which secured the union vote for liberals. Now, what's interesting in what we're seeing now, particularly in the last 4 years, Donald Trump really disrupted what used to be somewhat cynical, transactional way of getting union support for politicians. What Donald Trump did was, he said, look, I'm not going to take a bunch of money from lobbyists and unions and then talk about what I'm going to do for them. I'm going to say, I see things that other politicians have not seen for years and years. I'm going to fight for you in a way that no other politician has. And he's shown it through action. That's what Donald Trump's doing that's different. And this is one of the things that's really ticking off the liberals. They've lost the union vote to a large extent. And I would say they've lost the populace vote in America. The people out in the Midwest, the people out in the middle of the country, the people throughout the South, the liberals, their party's getting gutted right now. So they're really being reduced to being a party of the rich elites and the super poor that need the rich elites to give them handouts. So rather than focusing on solving, for how can I just get some money from this union so that I can get them to vote for me and then I'll talk about their issues. What Donald Trump did was he solved actual problems for them. He focused in on world trade so that America's not getting killed in trade anymore. He focused on bringing American jobs back to America by incentivizing corporations to open plants here again and prioritize American workers and making it difficult for them to create factories over in other parts of the world, shipping the jobs overseas. By Trump identifying these issues and championing the causes of actual workers out in the middle of the country, these are middle class people, lower middle class in some cases, that really need a champion that were overlooked for many years. By him championing that group and caring about them and incentivizing corporations to participate and putting tariffs on other countries, the goods they're importing, he was able to create a coalition. He was able to, in essence, win back a voting base that had become dormant, and I guess they were not incentivized to come out and vote anymore. They were demoralized to some extent. He's giving them he's literally making his case more on a moral basis than he is on a transactional, just give me money and then I'll go talk about your issues somewhere. He's saying, I care about you. I'm willing to really actually do something about it. As a result of his approach, he has invigorated a whole nation of people to have hope again. Actual hope. Not hope and change the way that it was, displayed on the Obama poster made by Shepard Fairey. Actual hope. And that's why we're seeing Donald Trump at all of his rallies leading up to this election. They have been gangbusters. They have been huge. I made a video last week where I was showing pictures of Biden's rallies versus Trump's rallies. And Biden's got these circles around these people. He's got, no more than a couple of hundred people. But most of the time it's like 40 at his rally. Where Donald Trump's got huge crowds of thousands of people. And what are they doing when they get there? What are people at Trump's rallies doing? They're chanting. They're cheering. They're booing when it's, when he makes a talking point against the other side. These people are engaged. These people are so into it that they're chanting, "We love you." When have you ever heard a crowd of people cheer for a politician? A politician, you guys. This gets at the heart of what we're talking about here. A guy that is sticking to principle and making his case based on morals, not based on, did you guys donate enough to my presidential thing? Did your lobbyists come and talk to my people and now I'm on your side because you bought my representation? You see? You see how it's different now? And this is just another indicator for why Donald Trump is going to win in a landslide coming this November 3rd. Or, once they get done counting all of the ballots that have been mailed in. Who knows, a week after November 3rd when they'll actually make the announcement? Doesn't matter. I have a feeling, my gut tells me that it's going to be such a landslide that the mail-in votes will become a moot point. At any rate, Trump's instincts were just better. And it's showing up now in the way that even big groups that used to be heavily Democrat are now switching over to Republican. And we're seeing it show up in the unions and the worker associations across America. And that is why I believe that in 2020, we're going to see the first real signs of a lights out for the Democratic Party as we know it. They're going to have to make some big changes, some big structural changes that go all the way to the heart of their party. And that is what I'm going to be talking about in the second video I'm going to be launching here in a little while today. So stay tuned for the next time I go live here on Americana X. This has been another episode of Americana X Newswatch. I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. We will see you very soon. Just a few hours, I'm going to launch the next video. All right, you guys. See you then.